Okay, here's a demo about how to move your object to Blender. You guys worked on this project in Sculptris, and in Sculptris you're able to create basically an OBJ object. So once you switch to paint mode and you painted your object, you will need to export it as an OBJ, as an object. You're going to need to bring two things over to the Blender environment. You're going to need to actually bring your 3D object file, and you're also going to need to bring your texture map. To see the option to export the texture map, you have to click Show Advanced Tools and then save the texture map. If any of you haven't got to paint mode yet, let me show you just a little bit about working in paint mode. In paint mode, you can either paint strictly with colors or you can paint with images. Like I don't have this same image on this computer, but I had an image of a frog, and I just took that image of that frog, and it said, kill two birds, one stone, or eat the frog first, or something like that. Just grabbed a random image and started painting with it. So if you want to try that, you can do it in two places, either as a brush or a texture. So I'm going to first double-click on to do it as a brush. I'm going to double-click there. I've got some images on here. You just pick a random image. There's an image of a flower pot. That'll end up giving me something that's very organic. So now that I've placed it, I'm going to double-click, and now that's loaded as a brush. And so if I go to my brush tool to operate with that, I can change the size of that tool. And then how I actually apply it to that area. Also, you can do a, again, these are just very random images. Let me disable the paintbrush and do it as a texture. And you can change the color that it's coming out as. Right now that's having a lot of this warm color come across with it, and it really is really effective when you see it over in Blender. Blender's going to be the environment where we actually render what this looks like, and it's going to be photographic. If you successfully use your texture or your brush tool, it's going to look really neat. So I want to get this ready to go over there. I haven't sculpted anymore. Once you go to paint mode, you can't sculpt anymore. Once you're in paint mode, all you can do is color your object. So I already have my OBJ saved to a thumb drive, but I do need to export this new texture map that I've worked on. You can also export these texture maps to Photoshop to work on them in there too, to do colorations and changes, and then after you've saved it from there, you can also bring it into Blender to work with. But I'm going to save this texture map. Here's the first one that I did. So I'm just going to make this number 2. All right. And I think that's finished. So now I want to bring my OBJ and my texture map over into Blender. I've already got a working Blender document to give you just a little bit of a quick run around of how I want you guys to set Blender up. Try to use at least 3 windows. This is your main build window. I can change the function of any of these windows right here in the bottom left-hand corner. Right now, that's my primary one called 3D View. This one down here, okay, so basically to put a texture map on an object in Blender, right-click on that object to select it. This is my OBJ that I imported from Sculptris. And then you're going to go here in these options over here to your materials, and you have to select first the type of texture map you want. It's usually one of these others, but you want to select an image or a movie. After you do that, you need to browse for that texture map here under Image, browse for it, and And then the other important thing is telling Blender how you want that texture map to act. And under mapping, under image mapping, I suppose it's just on repeat. But under mapping here, you use UV, and that's going to tell it to correctly show. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, one last thing. Also, in terms of what you're designing in this image and your composition, do remember the lighting. You have control over the lighting here. So if I right-click on this light icon right here, or light object, here is where my light object, I control all of the how it operates. Right now it's a point lamp, but I also could switch to a sun light, and so if I want to see what that looks like rendered with that selected, it's a lot more luminous. You get a different image. Also, of course, you know, it being a light source, you can reposition it in relation to your composition, and that you're going to change the shadows and everything like that. So do be aware of that. And but that's my disjuncted demo and stuff.